start with planning and zoning. Jim? Oh, wait,
We need an approval of that, no?
how about an approval? How about a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made to approve the agenda with the two changes by Donnie, seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Now, Jim, planning and zoning.
Okay, we have two permits, one for a small accessory structure. Guy and Tammy Anderson to make an 8 by 10 foot shed on their property at 220 3rd Avenue Northeast. And we didn't have any problem with that. That was replacing a shed that was there before once. Then we had a small accessory structure permit application by Jordan Shabilla, or Prisabilla, depending on how you want to say that. That's on 153rd Street, and it's just east of where Kamnick Street comes up there, the first house along the way there, kind of behind Don's house there along that street. He wants to make a 13-foot wide by 10-foot high by 24-foot long canvas hoop garage. And our policy has been that we're not approving those for permanent structures. He wasn't sure what he was asking for. He had checked permanent, and then when he was kind of notified that probably wouldn't go, he said, well, I'll make it a temporary one then. And of course, he also has several other sheds there ready, but since it's a temporary permit, and we've done one of these before already, these types of buildings, we approve that, or suggest that you approve it. However, he said he was going to remove it, or he has it on their removal date by April 15th, but he also has it checked that it's going to be permanent. So to make sure there is no confusion there, we put a condition on there, and that's on the condition it was completely removed by April 15th. Completely removed means to make sure they take the pipes down and that. You just can't take off the canvas and call it removed and then come back again next year. You have to really remove it. I guess that was our reasoning for that and that line. So on that condition, we suggested that you approve that also, unless you have any questions on any of that.
Anybody have any questions?
I'll make the motion to approve the planning and zoning.
Motion's been made by Donnie, seconded by Jackie to approve the two planning and zoning permits. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Then we have our National Honor Society here. Jamie Strohmeyer is here with some of her students. Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Jamie Strohmeyer, the Minnesota Honor Society advisor, and I have 3 of my officers here that are going to ask permission for the collection buckets for the toy drive.
I am Kendra Sakala, president. This is Addie LeBlanc, secretary, and Jaden Dorn, vice president, and we are here to represent the Pierz chapter of the Minnesota Honor Society. We would like to ask permission to put out collection jars in local businesses with all the proceeds going towards the 2022 toy drive.
We would like to place jars in the local businesses between November 16th and 18th to collect the jars the week of December 5th. This gives us 2 full weeks for donations. The community toy drive distribution will take place on either December 15th or 16th.
Last year, we were just shy of $2,000, which included around $1,000 from generous community members. This has been a very successful event, and we are hoping you will continue to support us in our efforts.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the,
I'll make the motion to approve the National Honor Society's request.
motion's been made by Lynn to approve the National Honor Society's request to put toy pickup boxes throughout the city, seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you all very much. That wasn't so hard now, was it? No.
Thanks for doing
So,
that.
but we only got one name. We have to get all 3 names.
She said them all.
Oh, did,
You weren't listening.
wow, I'm sorry.
Kendra Sakala, Addie LeBlanc, and Jaden Dorn.
Let me turn your hearing aid up.
Well, they're so far away, I couldn't hear. So, okay, sorry.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you all very much. Next on the agenda is we purchased the the property on 501 and Industrial Park. I think we need to have a resolution to do that for our auditors down the road. So we have a resolution in the packet. Any questions on that?
I would make the motion to approve the resolution to purchase the property from BH Auto.
Motion's been made by Kyle, seconded by Jackie, to improve the resolution 2022-1024-1, purchase of the industrial park property. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Then we have some repaybacks from the Gulf Fund, the park complex expansion. One would be to the electric fund and one to the solid waste fund.
I'll make the motion. We'll do each one separately.
Yes.
I'll make the motion for the golf fund to repay the electric fund.
To the tune of, we're not paying it back, to the tune of $0, right?
Yep.
Any questions on that or discussion on that?
We're not paying it back?
We're not paying it back this year. We're not making a payment toward it this year.
Okay.
But we need to
This
do
is
the
basically,
resolution next year.
right, just
do
stating
our-
that we will pay it back.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Yes.
But we're not making any payment this year.
Yep. I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Donnie to approve resolution number 2022-1024-2, the repayment of the electric fund for 2022 to be $0. Seconded by Lynn. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then we have resolution number 2022-1024-3, repayment of the solid waste fund from the Gulf Fund. Motion's been made by Kyle, seconded by Jackie, to have the repayment of $0 back to the solid waste fund for 2022. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay, then we have an exempt permit from St. Joseph's Church Carnival, August 6th, 2023, and that is for a purse bingo.
I'll make a motion to approve the exempt permit.
It's a carnival.
For the carnival. It's not for the purse bingo?
Did that last month.
The carnival, yeah.
Last-
Oh.
first bingo.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, it says it right here. St. Joseph's Church Carnival, August 6th. Why did it have purse bingo in my
I
head?
think we did that last time.
Did that
didn't we?
last meeting.
We did that last time. Yeah. All right, so this is for the Church Carnival, August 6th, 2023, looking ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve the exempt permit for the carnival.
Motion's been made by Jackie, seconded by Donnie,
Yep.
to approve the exempt permit for St. Joseph's Church Carnival on August 6, 2023. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then we have a donation request from the Pierz American Legion Auxiliary. They would like to use this room, Senior Center, City Hall, whichever you would prefer it to be, for a
Christmas party.
Christmas party. Okay. Any questions on that?
I'll make the motion to approve the request from the Pierz American Legion to have the senior center or whatever we're going to call it for the thing.
Motion's been made by Lynn to allow the donation request to the Pierz American Legion Auxiliary to use the senior center for their Christmas party. Seconded by
I'll second it.
Donnie. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Eric, you are up. Did I wake you up?
No, I was expecting towards the end. We're not to the end, or?
We're down into department reports,
getting
sir.
there.
Yes.
We're where you want to be.
Well, I'm always at the bottom, so here we sit.
Well, we're not, you're above the other Eric, so.
Okay, that's changed. Usually it's the other way. All right, we all know the process of bringing on a full-time officer that we've been waiting patiently for all the information to come back. This last weekend, I received the final certificate from the state of Minnesota reference to Mr. Rushlow being post-certified. We received a certificate. He was established a post number. So as of this morning, I began the process of bringing him on. So this morning was his first day spent here with me at City Hall, going through all the information and preparing him for the next 10 to 12 weeks of training to become the next Pierz peace officer. So I would just like the final approval to continue to move ahead, because I presented today to Bob my final background report, which what my proposal is that we absolutely move forward because of his fine background and the young man that he is and that he will be for the city of Pierz. So I'm just looking for the final approval for me to continue to move ahead with the training aspect of Mr. Rushlow.
Any questions?
I'll make that motion.
Motion.
Lynn will make the motion.
Motion's been made by Lynn,
second.
seconded by Donnie to move forward with the hiring of Preston Rushlow as a Pierz police officer.
And then I just want to remind that it's.
All in favor,
Oh, I'm sorry, Dave.
indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously.
And the one thing that we're going to be doing with Mr. Rush this time is, because he's brand new, it's going to be an expense to my budget lines. And I believe I have in my budget line just because of the lack of coverage that we've had for City of Pierz because of, not having Kelvin here with me. So there's going to be an expense because he's starting out from scratch. So I've got to supply the equipment, the uniforms. So that process began this morning, but I believe it's in my budget to do it without nickel and diming the City of Pierz this year, just because of my budget not being utilized this last year because of Kelvin's resignation many months ago. So just thought I'd give you guys the heads up ahead of time. Any questions for me?
If it's not in his budget, can we use some of those COVID dollars that we got from?
Yeah, absolutely. It's for the general fund or the fire fund, so, yeah.
What better way to use those dollars?
We haven't done a full calculation, I guess, as far as what that expense is gonna be, but there is significant savings just by not paying salary to Kelvin, so.
And I'm keeping track of it. It's not like I'll disclose it to you guys to see it, but it's not something that we need to make public by no means, but I'm keeping track of it because it's an investment, but we're making an investment into a young man that's going to be a great asset to the city of Pierz. And it's my goal to lead him down the same road that I did and eventually give him my role as the leader of the city of Pierz. So it's going to be an investment, but it's going to be a very good investment for us to continue to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Mr. Eric Dafke,
Would that be E2?
E2.
Give the key one then.
All right, how you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good. So kind of just here giving an update on what's going on. So the 15th, we were able to get into the new shop. We got in there, we did some looking around. We did have to wash the inside of it. It was just dusty and dirty, so we figured before we put everything inside there, we washed it down. We're in the process of putting pallet racking up now. We do got a few things moved over, but it's a process getting everything moved around and keeping up with everything else. So the shop, other than that, the shop is in good shape. Nothing that I've seen after being in there monkeying around with everything. Everything seems to be working fine. I had Ethan Lochner in there with SCR, I believe, Northern, looking at just to add that the ventilation system in there, which it already has. They just got to upgrade the sensor and add a little bit of ductwork on the top and on the bottom. So not a whole lot there to it. That is in the plans for him to come down and do it. He's going to send over a bid of what it would cost first. So once we get that, we'll show you guys with that. Trying to think of what else with the shop before I move on with that. Did you guys have any questions with the new shop at all? Anything over there?
How's the move-in going?
It's going. As much as you can, like I said, between getting her cleaned out and wanting to get that pallet racking up before we start shoving things in there. Be nice to. So my plan tomorrow, we should be able to complete the pallet racking in there. and then start the process again, everything shoved up on there and in. So there also is, with the shop, there's two car hoists in that shop. I feel it's good that we keep the bigger one of the two. It's a 12,000 pound hoist, which that can lift up our 1 ton and the red truck you see around town here. So we can do our maintenance without having to lay on the ground with that. The other one is a 10,000 pound car hoist, 2-post hoist. A little bit of research I'd done this afternoon. New ones are going for like $5,000-6,000. So we can take this down, and I would suggest maybe putting it on that gov bids. I would assume we should get it $2,000-3,000 for it. I would say that's worth it. So we'll take that down. We'll put it on a pallet, and then we'll get it for sale on that. As far as fall projects coming up here, we got leaves to start vacuuming up around town everywhere. I want to get down Main Street, suck out all the basins that are down Main Street. We did complete the patch on Oak Street behind Bob's Lumber. When they put the cement in, they left a gap in between there, which we knew about, and so we put our patch in there. We got the water to flow correctly down there for now. So the other patch I did was on Capsner Street North. We had added a bunch of gravel there this summer because it was getting real bad. So we cleaned that out. We put a nice little patch in there and made it so we can drive up and down it and plow it without pushing everything back in everybody's yard. What else do I have on here? We also are going to get the parks all bagged up yet here. I did get the sprinkler system blown out at Billig Park, so that's all taken care of. Planter boxes we're going to pick up this week. I kind of waited a little bit because I just want to pick them up once, bring them up to the shop instead of going back and forth 1,000 times. I believe Bob said the snow blower did sell.
The expiration was 7 o'clock tonight, and the bid was at $54.50,
Yes, so.
and there was
that
a few
really
minutes
good.
left, so.
What else? Oh, that MnDOT agreement. So I had Dave Sayre, as we did last year and years prior, to fill it out, so he'll help us do the Main Street removal. I don't know, do they have copies of what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they all have copies of what he charges per hour and that stuff on there. I also filled our end of out for City of Pierz with the skid loader.
Do we need to approve this tonight then, Bob?
Yeah, we should have a motion for the selling the car hoist and the MnDOT.
Oh, yeah, yep.
No worries. Go ahead and finish, Eric. We'll
Okay.
do the motions after you're all done.
Parks big, pointed out, stick sweeping. Snow blower. Summer Street and First Avenue by Reds, there's some pretty big divots along there. So the guy, Granite City Paving, is the one who's been doing our patches here lately. He's going to bring me in just some hot mix, and we're going to fill them in temporarily so we can get them level again, because that one by Reds is pretty bad over there. And if he's got a few extra yards, there's some spots on Summer Street that could use it just to make it a little more level than it is now. So that he's still going to come and do that here in this week or the early part of next week. So that's, I think, all I had.
I guess one thing we could talk a little bit about, Eric and I discussed, being we sold are selling that snow blower for actually a little bit more than what we paid for it. We had the discussion of looking into a skid loader. Right now our skid loader is a 2016. Part of our thought process is originally we always kind of run that skid loader 10, 12, 15 years, but being the trade-in right now is so good, and a lot of these used equipment prices are so high, we might be better off buying a brand new skid loader and getting significant dollars for that used one. It's a great way to update our skid loader, possibly, for very low price.
It's worth looking into, at least at this
We
point.
feel it's worth looking into.
Check it out, see what you got for prices and
Yeah.
what we think we can sell it for. And
It does take some work to do that type of stuff, but it's a great way to keep your equipment up to date. That's a piece of equipment that we do keep new.
Is that
on its own separate line item? Is that under our heavy machinery budget?
Heavy machinery, public works. So I want to say we budget 4,000 a year for that piece of equipment, something like that,
For that or just into that fund?
just for that skid loader. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the ability with our buying power to buy at a discount and literally buy it and sell it 3 years later at the same price, so.
It's making me rethink a lot of that
Of
long-range equipment buying
Absolutely.
with the inflated used prices, like I said.
Yep, yep. Okay, well, bring in some numbers, I guess, would be the thing to do there. All right, anything else?
I don't have anything for me.
Any questions for Eric? If not, any questions on the MinDOT approval or bid? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the MinDOT contract, I guess. Bids, whatever we need to approve there.
Motion's been made by Kyle to approve the MinDOT bid,
I'll second.
seconded by Donnie. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then the hoist. We need approval to put the hoist up for sale on the auction. Is that what you're planning?
Toughdeals.com,
Tough
yeah.
deal, okay. Motion's been made by Jackie to put the hoist, the extra hoist available in the new shop up on the gov.com auction.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Lynn. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Bob?
You spoke with Dave a little bit about the meetings I've been having with FEMA regarding the city shop. We went through the process originally with the county to list that shop as a possibility to getting covered. We never really knew fully if we were going to get approved for that or not. I've gone through 2 Zoom meetings with 2 different FEMA representatives, and I created 2 different narratives. One was regarding the possibility of replacing the existing 40 by 70 shop, or I should say, it was actually regarding buying the BH Auto building. You know, would the city be able to recover funds for buying that BH Auto building from FEMA? That answer was no. The next step was, okay, can we build a concrete shop or something that's going to not blow down? And that was part of the selling point that could possibly get FEMA funding. And the answer to that was no. So the 2 people that I talked to, he talked to superiors in FEMA, and they went through that process. He thought very thoroughly, and the answer is still no. Now, there is 2 possibilities for appeals. I guess my suggestion is that we just go away from FEMA at this point rather than spending more time on it and just focus on the insurance. I still have a little bit of work to do on the insurance, but hopefully get that wrapped up by the end of the year. So
Any thoughts or questions on that? Do you need a motion on
let's do a
on
motion
that?
to withdraw our project.
Withdraw the project in FEMA. Any questions, first of all?
No, it was worth looking into.
It was worth
If you
looking
don't look
into.
into
It's
it, you
just,
never
yeah,
know the
absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
We didn't get the answer we wanted, but
That's the way it is. I'll
And
make that-
sorry, it kind of boils down to that our insurance paid for the replacement.
yeah.
You know, it's not like we had a disaster and we couldn't recover from it. So
Okay.
I'll make that motion to withdraw the FEMA.
Motion's been made by Donnie to drop the FEMA research on the city shop. Seconded by Jackie. All in favor indicate by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously.
And then I guess I would like to spend a little bit of time just to call your attention, page 29 of the packet. Dave, Don, and myself went up to Minnesota Power for their annual meeting with the municipals, and a number of municipal utilities were there, but this basically explains the utilization of their AMI system, their automated meter infrastructure. We have a AMR system, so our system basically is used for reading the meters. We have the meter capability to do the infrastructure part of it. And I guess this list of functions on why they went to the AMI is here just for your review. Eric Gaffke, myself, and Dion met with Corn, Maine about a month ago just to kind of go through this again. We originally did this whole analysis in 2018, talking about replacing all the meters. Well, we've done the expensive part of replacing the meters. If we choose, the next step is to go to the infrastructure and we can gain all these capabilities. At the time, it was $100,000 extra to put up the infrastructure. It was basically a tower and some wires, I guess, affixed to that tower. But the other part of it is software. So it was $25,000 a year for software and data storage to run this system. Now, the reason we're looking at Corn, Maine again, they've said that the cost has come down significantly from $25,000 a year. So then I would like an updated number because it's been 4 years since we looked at it, just to reanalyze and say, okay, if it's 5 or 10,000, it might be worth it. The beauty of that is we would go from 3 or 4 hours of reading on a truck to literally 5 minutes with a series of clicks to get our reads for the month, because all the information is there. So Dion just simply goes through that process. That's one savings, but then all these other savings are things that we're going to be looking at. Like I said, this will be in the next 6 months. I anticipate we look at this again. So it's just kind of a nice little summary there of what Minnesota Power is gaining from that system. Power outage reporting was a big thing. I mean, Eric knows their linemen can pull up outages and they can see what line is out. They can notice outages before the customers notice outages. So,
Right.
I mean, there's good advantages, but. And then page 30, 31 of the packet is just kind of some generation information. I guess I just included a few. 33 of the packet, the center part of that, it's called the Northland Reliability Project, and it's a interconnection basically for transmission lines from their Iron Range substation down to Great River Energy. So it's kind of a combination transmission upgrade that's going to be happening in our region. So one thing they kind of emphasized is, you know, in the 70s and 60s, 70s, when they built these power plants, they built them in areas with high population and high usage. Well, now they're getting to the point where a lot of these big users are shutting down and their generators are more spread out. You know, they have smaller solar generators. Hydro generation is spread out more. So the transmission infrastructure isn't built what it should be. So basically they have to do a lot of transmission upgrades. So that cost will be coming in the future. So, and they talked a lot about renewable energy. You know, just page 34 of the packet, it used to be 76% coal for generation in this central United States, and now it's down to 33%. So, I mean, it's gone to natural gas and renewable energy. So all those will be affecting our rates next year is what we learned also. So we will likely be seeing a rate increase, and the consultant that we used for the NEPA negotiations with Minnesota Power and also our rate study is going to be hired by NEPA to go through kind of an analysis of the 2023 rates we're going to expect from Minnesota Power. And then I would suggest our city council hire him, and it shouldn't take much to look at those 23 rates for wholesale that we're going to expect, and then see what we need to raise our retail rates to keep our profit lines in line or whatever we wish them to be. So it's getting more complicated as far as changing our rates because of our demand charge. So we got to do that fairly, and I feel like through Dave Berg that's going to be accomplished well. So we should see those numbers in the next couple weeks. So by the next council meeting, I should have something extra.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to touch a little bit on page 35 of the packet. I changed the Kamnick Street First Avenue. I had 600,000 in this spreadsheet originally, and I looked that up. Actually, it was 560,000. So I do have some changes on this one. And the other one, for some reason, I thought that second down payment was going to be 100,000, but it was actually 150. So we ended up 152,000 with closing costs.
$2,000 was closing cost.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Okay. Any questions for Bob? Very quickly, in the park complex expansion, we are still moving out there. We have submitted our permit to expand the pond yet this fall, and as soon as we get that permit, we will work on that. We also, I touched base today with our irrigation guy, and they'll be coming up. They're still planning to come Monday, next Monday, Halloween, October 31st, and start the irrigation process. So we're moving right along on that. Any questions on that? If not, we also have a situation tonight where we're going to have to do a closed meeting and discuss some issues and move on from there. So at this time, I would look for a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make that motion to close the meeting.
Motion's been made by Donnie to close the meeting,
I'll second it.
seconded by Lynn. All in favor indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried unanimously, and I guess we'll reopen it immediately after our discussion and